Waiting to clear the ball, ready for play. Now the try for the extra point. That could pull the West squad to within 6. Ball is down, the fake. Back to pass into the end zone. It's incomplete. And so, as I said, I didn't think they were going for it. They sure did. It was Henry Higg who pulled the ball away and threw. The receiver was covered in the end zone, so the 2-point conversion is no good. Well, don't know why they went for the 2-point conversion. They didn't need it, but nonetheless, it's their prerogative.
Well, they knew you'd call it. We'll see it again here. Here's Smith on the drop, and there's that good step-up ability, as Jim mentioned. Then watch this. He really, I tell you what, the fingertip grab going down, and a very, very close call and effort as far as Stutzman goes. Stutzman, an 8-man football player from Chapel, Nebraska. He'll be headed to Kearney State this fall, play his football there. He'll walk on at Kearney State. Stutzman's 5'10", 155 pounds, and he's got glue on his hand, so he'll contribute at Kearney State.
No question about it. Interestingly enough, 5 of these West Stars from 8-man football named to this squad. 4 of them made the starting unit. Might open some eyebrows. Here's Bruce Benoist, will kick it away. 34 seconds to go. It's a 13-6 advantage for the East squad. Line drive boot up the center of the field. We got flags down, and this one's going to come back.
Well, the referee on the opposite side of the field, he's saying, fellas, you can't go that early. And Benoist, you know, Benoist is 6'7" and 225 pounds.
Dead ball foul. Encroachment on the red. All right, blue captain.
We got a step off of 5. And Benoist will hit this one at the 35. Pretty academic at this point. I doubt if he's going to kick it long. He'll try to either squib it. Trailing 13-6. He does not want to risk the run back. You have Waggle back deep. This kick is sailed high. Down to about the 20. Coming back upfield and hit is Dietrich Brock. Gets free. Goes down as he gets across the 35 and down at about the 36 or 37. Used up some time on the clock. 23 seconds to go.
And that was Dave Feddersen also in there on the hit, Jim. And I guess we'll see it again as Benoist hits it. I'm not sure Benoist knew what he was supposed to do on that play, because the initial kick he was to squib. Here he kicks it out. And as you mentioned, Jim, you don't want to return. There you see a good return that time by number 21 for the East team. That's Dietrich Brock. He'll also be headed to Kearney State this fall.
17 seconds to go and counting. Pro set. Back
Looking
to
for
pass.
Waggle.
Now tucking it back in and going down is Shagru for the East squad. Hit down by Bruce Benoist. 3 seconds, 2, 1. The clock will run out here in the first half. So the score for the first half of play here in the West Nebraska All-Star game, the East 13 and the West squad 6. So we saw a little bit of everything here, and I think breaking a little bit of tradition. They talked about maybe some boring games, but I think we've seen a lot of excitement here this evening.
There is no quarter for anybody to be in the media to say that this has been a boring football game. It's been an exciting football game. We've seen the long bombs, as you've talked about, Jim, the Hail Mary passes. We've seen some great defense, some great individual play on defense. So this game has been everything it's been billed thus far. And it's been an exciting evening. It's been a typical fall evening, even though we're only in August. So what an exciting game thus far.
Well, let's go down to the field now with Rick Thurtle. He has the head coach for the East squad, Mike Howard.
Mike, you guys got the lead. It's an exciting first half of ball. Tell us what your team did.
Well, we played defense for almost the whole first quarter, and they really moved the ball well. They did some things that we weren't expecting, and I thought our kids really adjusted well. And basically what happened is on one of our pass plays, quarterback and the wide receiver noticed that they were rotating up. And
you're talking about
Sugaroo to Waggle, and they just didn't have the coverage there not to cover Waggle.
What are you guys going to do different in the second half? You're going to try and tighten up? They did beat you long on one play.
Yeah, they beat us long one time, but, you know, when we play defense over a quarter and a half. And the Smith kid's a good ball player, and we need to probably put a little bit more pressure on the quarterback But I think what we need to do is when we get the ball at the beginning of the half, we'll take the ball, and if we can control it and keep it away from them, that'll take a lot of pressure off our defense.
You still think you can take advantage of their secondary?
Well, we're going to try. I think we can run the ball at them if we want to. I think we can pass the ball on them. I think it comes down to the one big series that we had. We made a mistake. We had a holding call, and that stopped us and slowed us down.
Good job. So you might see a lot of different things coming from the East squad in the second half.
Well, it's been an interesting first half. That's the end of the first half of play. And our score again, the East 13 and the West 6. Coverage of the 1987 West Nebraska All-Star Football Game in Scottsbluff continues on Nebraska ETV right after this.
Next on Nova. During the 9 months that this baby was inside her mother's womb, a remarkable series of events unfolded. Weighing 7 pounds now, this child started as a single cell, smaller than the head of a pin. How can you get a baby from one single cell? Scientists seek to discover how babies get made. That's next time on Nova.
Watch Nova Tuesday night at 7, 8 o'clock Mountain Time.
Join us Thursday afternoon at 1:15 for live coverage of President Reagan's trip to our state. Our governor has invited him for a visit to North Platte, and ETV will be there to cover the event. Then at 7, we'll repeat the president's speech. So don't miss the president's visit to North Platte, Thursday afternoon at 1:15 and Thursday evening at 7 on your ETV network.
Welcome back to Bearcat Stadium here in Scottsbluff. Our halftime score, the East squad with a 13-6 lead over the West. Earlier this evening, Adrian Fiala had an opportunity to talk with a very special guest.
He's president of West Nebraska All-Star Sports. And John, what a real privilege and pleasure to work with you folks out here. You do a great job.
Thank you, Adrian. We're just thankful that ETV came out to do our game. We'd like to give you our appreciation. We think it's just wonderful.
John, tell us a little bit about this game, the history, how it all got started, and some of the things involved with what you do.
Yes, Adrian, the West Nebraska All-Star Game began 10 years ago, the first one. It originated with the idea of a group of individuals in our community thinking that in western Nebraska we had a lot of young folks that were going to go to smaller colleges and play ball, and we wanted to honor these individuals, so we started the West Nebraska All-Star Games. And the first game was 10 years ago.
How do you pick players? What's the dividing line? Who does the player selection, John?
I'll give the dividing lines. Basically, the state is divided at Lexington. And then for the East and West Division line, we have kind of a different situation. We've got a situation where we tried to divide the East and West teams equally, and we had to do it by school populations. So as a result, one of the lines goes through Oshkosh, Nebraska, one of the lines goes between Ainsworth and Valentine, Nebraska, and one line goes at McCook, Nebraska. So this way we could get an equalization of the number of people. The way that the individuals are chosen, first of all, we send out information to each of the schools for the coaches. They select someone they'd like to see make the team. Those are compiled, sent back to us, and then we give them to the head coaches that have been selected. And then the head coaches make the selection.
John, there have been a lot of games the last 10 years, maybe some memorable moments in this All-Star Series. I know you've got a kid from Rushville that's really had pretty good success.
Yes, probably one of the most memorable games was when Kelly Stoffer from Rushville, who is going to play in the NFL, played here at Bearcat Stadium, and he set, I forget how many records, but he did a tremendous job.
Any other memorable moments that come to mind for you?
Not especially. I think each of the games have a new twist. I think tonight's game is going to be interesting because I think the teams are really well matched.
John, you combine not only 11-man players or players from 11-man teams, but also 8-man. Is that correct?
That's correct. And as I understand it, I believe we have one man that is a 6-man also player.
Do those 8-man players cope pretty well?
they've adjusted very well. In talking with the coaches, matter of fact, they said they were amazed how these kids can adjust into the program.
John Bays, thanks again for all of your help, all your consideration, and for all the support that the people have given us these last few days here. It's really been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adrian.
Well, this has been an interesting first half, and right now the East has the lead, and those statistics, though, would let you believe that the West squad is on top.
We see the stats there, as you mentioned, Jim. The West leading in first downs, leading in rushing, a little bit of an East edge in passing. Total yards actually even. Well, the tail of the tape is 13-6, and that's what counts, and that's the East score. East ahead, 13-6 ahead of the West, and you know, the pass interception was a big play. Corey Anderson making that play. Then we had the pass from Shagru to Waggle on a long bomb, 75-yard new record for longest scoring pass in this ball game. So they've really been able to capitalize on the big play, and the West has just simply grounded out. They did the Hail Mary play, as we talked about in that first half, Jim, but they really ground out the football on the ground. So
I don't suppose you'll make a prediction.
Holy cow. Holy palimony, I think is what they say. Well,
more scoring.
I tell you, one thing we want to keep in mind for the East here, the team that will be teeing up and kicking off, their coach, Mike Howard, said, if the momentum is headed our way at the beginning of the second half, we might try an onside kick. Now, I don't know. We'll get to see that here in a few minutes, and we're going to see an interview here with Coach Dorman.
Yeah, let's go down on the sideline with Rick Thurtle.
Coach Dorman, can you tell us what you thought about your team's performance in the first half?
Well, I thought we played real well. We had the two mistakes. We got beat on a long pass, and we threw a pass that we probably shouldn't have in the first quarter, and they scored on both of those. Other than that, I think we pretty well controlled the line of scrimmage on them.
What are we going to see different for the West squad in the second half?
I don't know that we're going to do much different. I think we're moving the ball, and as long as we move the ball, we can stay with that game plan.
The connection, the passing with Aaron Smith was real good. Do you expect to see more of that?
I think so, yes.
Okay. That'll about do it now. Back upstairs.
Brent Knoll will kick it off for the East squad. Here's the boot sailing downfield. It's a short kick. Colin West at the 15 to the 20. 25, 30, and that's where he's going to go down. Hit down there by number 74, Jerry Ellsworth for the East squad. Interestingly enough, Adrian, both coaches feel very confident about the way they're playing and about the way they're moving the ball.
Yeah, you'd say both of them are ahead by 20 points at this time. I was particularly impressed with Coach Dorman's comments. He said, heck, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. We're grinding the ball out and doing well on the ground, so let's keep going. So we're ready to get this half underway here.
Jeff Jagger's in at quarterback for the West squad. Sends a man in motion. The handoff, however, is straight ahead. There's a little bit of daylight up to about the 34-yard line. Looked like Kirk Hayes on the call that time. And he was hit down by Jeff Ellsworth.
We'll see it again here now, and there's a good pull by number 73 for the West team. That's Eric Hansen. Corey Anderson also in on that play. Jim, number 44, linebacker, as we mentioned earlier, going to Shadron State this fall. Corey is certainly in the running for the MVP honors as far as defensive play is concerned.
Troy Hartwig also in the backfield. Receivers left and right. West to the near side. Jason Stutzman to the far side of the field. The West trails 13-6. 11 minutes to go, third period. Hand off to Hartwig. Up near the 40. He'll be stopped shy at about the 38 or 39-yard line. In on the stop is Brent Schliemann, 6'2", 255-pound tackle.
I tell you, there's some good sportsmanship exhibited that time by number 22, Troy Hartwig, the ball carrier. He got slammed up inside there real good, and when he got up, he simply shook hands with that defender and patted him on the arm and said, good hit. And that's the kind of thing you like to see in a ball game like this.
3rd and 2 now for the West. West goes in motion. The handoff to Hartwig. It's a good drive and gets across the 40 that time. Has enough for the first down. There's sheer power for the I-back out of Scottsbluff.
Jim, that's one of those plays where he's stopped initially, and we'll see it here once again. He'll be hit initially, and then that leg drive just keeps him going, and he'll pick up that first down, a very big and important first down for that West team as they continue to mount this drive here in the early stages of the second half.
Again, Schliemann for the East squad on the stop. Two receivers out to either side. First down and 10 from the 43. Jaggers. Sends Hartwig in motion. That's going to be a penalty.
Right. They had two people that time moving. They had Cullen West going in motion to the left. And then number 22, Hartwig, coming in motion from the right. And, of course, you can't do that. And flags are flying immediately. They'll step it off here very shortly.
Adrian, being the old defensive guy that you are, you can appreciate some of the rules here. They asked that the teams play a traditional 5-2. You want to explain that?
5-2. There's a nose guard over the ball, right in the middle. 2 tackles, 2 defensive ends. You have 2 linebackers, a strong side and a weak side linebacker. Then you have 4 defensive backs. You'll see at times, though, where that monster back or strong safety will come up and play with somewhat of a linebacker position. So you'll see 5 down linemen and 2 backers. That's what the Okie 5-2 is all about.
So it's going to be first down, 1st and 15, 9:45 to go, third period. West trails 13-6. Hartwood gets the call. They try to strip it. He's still on his feet. Gets back to about the 42-yard line. It looked to me like Scott Schremer put his hand out there and tried to take that football away.
You got a good eye, Jim. You got a good eye, Jim. Watch the bottom of your screen here, number 46. Now watch him get a hand on the ball carrier. He'll shed the block there. Great effort. And then there, just a hand to slow him down a tad. And then number 50, Craig Crayson, Greg Crayson that is, finishes up the play. But give a lot of credit to Schremer that time and slowing down the ball carrier for very little gain.
2nd and 12 now. Play action. Jaggers looking downfield, throws to the sideline. It is caught. He'll probably be sorry that it was, but it was Todd Morton. He took a shot in the first half and had the wind knocked out of him. He took another one there.
Yeah, I tell you what, Todd's going to get tired of getting spanked all night here. He's going to get whacked again. We'll see Jaggers now. Pretty good toss. Not much room for anything else to happen. And, oh, look out.
Looked like Sean Sterling, one of the 2 there, making the hit.
Those 2 guys will knock your hat right in the creek if you're not careful, and that's what happened to Morton right there.
3rd and 6, 9 minutes to go here in period number 3. Back goes Jaggers to pass, looks over the middle. Now runs out of the pocket, running left. Throws downfield, he's got a man, caught at the 29-yard line. Coming back to the football that time is Jason Stutzman, I believe, yes.
Great catch and a comeback that time. It's going to probably go for naught because there's a flag as we watch Jaggers look off to the right. And now Stutzman's going to run the route, come back up to the inside. Good job that time by Stutzman running off that defender there, number 32, Trevor McGinney. But it's going to go for 0 because there's some sort of penalty. It looks maybe like a holding or a clipping call. I'm not sure. Usually on these kind of plays, that's what it will be.
Sometimes you think about an ineligible man downfield, one of the linemen releasing too soon as Jaggers ran out of the pocket. But I think you were right, Adrian. It's a major penalty back to the 37-yard line. Now let's get the indication from the official now.
We got a hold.
You have a hold. Well, the West squad has been plagued by penalties, and they like they did in the first period, they have started off here with a ball control drive. They have had it for over 6 minutes, and yet they still trail on the scoreboard 13-6. Stutzman goes wide left. West is the wide out to the near side. Pump fake, and Jaggers goes down under a heavy rush back on the 28-yard line. It was Chris Pedraza from Lexington coming through to make the hit.
All the way from the backside, Pedraza came, number 83. Watch the right side of your screen. Jaggers holding up on the ball. And then, boom, streaking in from that right side is Pedraza, and he's getting a little help in there from Scott Schremer, also a defensive end on the other side. So there you see a good shot of Pedraza, number 83 from Lexington. He's 6'3" and 170 pounds, so he's got some room to fill out here as we watch the teams line up, and the West team's going to kick it away. Who is that?
Well, it looks like Todd Suckup is going to punt it away. Standing inside his 15-yard line. Good snap. And it's a pretty good kick out of there. It's going to hit at about the 38-yard line, roll inside the 35, and be down by the West at about the 33-yard line. So the East squad with a 13-6 lead, trying to protect that margin. 7:41 remaining here in period number 3. Will take to the offense. Chances are we'll see a new quarterback. It'll be Sam Park checking in for the East squad. He's a 5'11", 195-pounder out of Hershey.
And one of those headed for Doane. Doane's going to get a lot of ball players this fall out of this bunch. Jim, Doane and Kearney State both.
They option down the left side, and it was Park keeping, and that play goes nowhere. A loss on the play by that West defensive squad. Let's go down on the sidelines now.
Chris Pedraza got the big sack to stop the rally that time. What kind of hole was there?
Coach just called in a play, said, go get him. And I went outside, and that's where he was. I just dicked right. I pushed in and bounced back out, and there was a quarterback. I hit him.
You guys going to be doing that all night long?
Yeah, we're going to get him.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Those are the kind I like, Jim. The coach says, go get him. You go get him. That's the kind of instruction you like.
2nd and 12, man in motion to the wide side of the field. Again, the keeper by Park. Ball is loose on the play. Looked like they're going to blow it dead, though. Bruce Benoist came up to make the stop on the play. It's going to be a gain, if anything, maybe about a yard. It's going to be 3rd and 11. Well, the West squad very fired up at this point. The man in motion that time was Dietrich Brock. Flanked out to the near side. Now he's in the slot to the left side. And Sean Waggle, one of the offensive stars for the East. The wideout. Here's a handoff trying to get to the outside and cutting back in, going down at the 35, 36-yard line. Number 81, boy, did he take a shot that time. Going down is Shaw.
And Henry Heeg that time, as we look at Mike Howard, head coach for the East team, pacing the sideline. But Henry Heeg that time for the West team came up from his safety position and really made a critical maneuver to stop the further advance by the ball carrier. So that's why the East team now is lined up in punt formation. So good job that time by Heeg from Kimball, Nebraska.
Well, that aggressive hitting style of both clubs could fire up one of these two offenses. Let's see what happened. High kick, sailing downfield. Again, they're going to let this one bounce. It takes an east bounce. It's going to be dead at about the 30-yard line. And so the West squad with another opportunity here with 5:31 remaining in the 3rd period. It's a 13-6 score.
Good field position now that the West will have to mount their drive. And number 46, Scott Schramer, was the East defender who downed that football there, as Jim just called it. So it's up to the West once again. And Coach Dorman was somewhat prophetic, as we talked about earlier. He says, we're just going to line it up and keep doing what we're doing. We're pretty successful. So, you know, we danced pretty well in the first half. We're going to dance again the second half.
Jaggers with the slot right formation. Sends Cullen West in motion. Handoff straight ahead. Nice trap play across the 35 and down to about the 37-yard line. Scott Schrimmer coming up to make the hit. Let's go down to the sideline once again.
There's a lot of guys out there giving their all on the field. Well, these guys are giving their all on the sidelines.
Go, G-O-F-I-G-H-T win! Go, G-O-F-I-G-H-T win! Go, G-O-F-I-G-H-T.
Now we know why Rick wanted to do the sideline work this evening. Rick, you're a smart fella.
In motion once again, and again the handoff is straight ahead. They're having some good success. It's going to be close to a first down. Corey Anderson came up very quickly that time to put the hit on Hayes. Let me check it. I think that time, yeah, it was Kirk Hayes. I thought maybe they'd gone to another man. You know, Hayes has been the workhorse here.
He really has. I'd like to see if maybe we could get a stat count on him to see what he's picked up for the evening if someone's keeping that downstairs. But Corey Anderson, I want to mention him also. Jim, he's just a stalwart in there. He really has just played a whale of a football game.
First down and 10 at the 43-yard line. And off again, that is Hayes. Hayes has about 4 more yards, and he is smothered under by the gang tackling of this East All-Star squad.
Well, and that was a good job that time by Barry Simpson, offensive guard. Watch number 52 on your screen. Right there, coming from the outside. Boom, there's a trap block, and now the ball carry up to the inside. So Barry Simpson from Mitchell, Nebraska, going to UNL on an academic scholarship. Way to go, Barry. But a good job up front by Simpson.
You know, Hayes could become a guy who has the most carries for an all-star game.
Jim just got the word. 61 yards on the evening. We'll try to find out the number of carries.
In motion again, Colin West. Here's a handoff to Hartwig. Hartwig to midfield. And it's going to be short of the first down. You know, amazingly, Abe, we have seen very few fumbles, if any, tonight.
I can't think of a fumble.
I can't think of a fumble at all.
They had a couple of near interceptions, but no fumbles whatsoever. And Jim, just as we feel this fine breeze come in the window here, I think you know, the playing conditions contribute to that a great deal, too. It's not a hot, sticky, sweaty evening that, you know, might occur where fumbles might occur, and then the hard hitting, but because there has been some hard hitting, no question about that.
This time it is nothing doing for Kirk Hayes as he goes into the middle of that line. Maybe about a yard. Let's go downstairs and get a play call.
Go for it. Terry, what you going to do?
All right, here we go. Orange, tight, fake wham, 62 ISO turnout.
Figure that
Terry,
out.
can you tell us about that play? Can you tell us about it?
Oh, we've been sending our man in motion a lot. He goes up to block. You know, the linebacker's stepping up where he turns, so we're going to turn him up on the other side.
So you can try and go around the end on the other side?
No. We're just going to turn him up on the left side of the center so the linebacker will think the play is going there.
Okay, we're back upstairs.
We got an equipment problem down there for the West squad. Number 61, Tom Klaus, comes out of there and said, got to adjust my helmet.
Can you imagine somebody tuning in the show and listening to that play call and say, what the heck is that guy talking about? I thought this was football.
Terry Gilliland with a foreign language down on the field. Here it is. It's an ISO to Hartwig, and he's got the first down. Again, second effort. Fights down to the 46-yard line. Bud Bond puts the hit on him, but not before the West gets the first down.
And that, you talk about effort. I tell you, he ran out of the grasp of number 44, a name we've mentioned all evening, and that's Corey Anderson, a good, tough middle linebacker, strong side linebacker up in there. But Hartwig was not to be denied, and he picked up that first down. A big play for the West team.
First down and 10. Again, the West squad with ball control here in the second half. They're on the short end of a 13-6 score. This is a great fake. That is Jaggers looking downfield, 45. He's going to be run out of bounds down at about the 41-yard line. It was Greg Crayson and Sean Sterling coming up to make the hit.
I'll tell you what, they probably won't see any film. If we can see the replay here, look down at the top of your screen, number 18, Jason Stutzman. We probably won't see it. He was absolutely wide open. He had his man beat by about 4 yards, waving his arms, you know, trying to get the attention of Jaggers, but he just couldn't do it. Jaggers, of course, being pursued by the defense, but he'll tell them about it, and they'll be looking for him next play.
1:17 remaining here in period number 3. Second down and 5, we'll call it. Handoff goes to Hayes. He's got some room. He's close to the first down stick. Down to the 36-yard line.
Jim, that's probably about, let's see, we had him 15 carries for 65 yards just a minute earlier as the referee signals for a timeout. They're going to measure to see whether or not that first down has been reached. But Hayes probably on that carry, let's see, has carried the ball twice more. He didn't gain any yardage on the one play. He picked up, what, about 5-6 yards there?
About 5, and it's going to be close enough for a measurement.
So we'll call him 17 carries for 70 yards thus far, still counting.
You know, not a lot of big people on either ball club, Abe, but I think we've seen some of the most ferocious hitting we've ever seen in an all-star game.
Small, but carry that big club. And, you know, the biggest people on this football field are on the East team. 6'3", 238, 6'3", 260, and 6'2", 255. We have Bruce Benoist on the West team. He's 6'7", but only goes 220. And so you're right, Jim. They aren't very big, but boy, I tell you what, they whack and they hit. And they, like I say, hammer and tong football is what I like to call it.
Well, Hayes was 70 yards rushing, had a full head of steam, but he was stood straight up by a 6'1", 171-pounder, Kevin McDonald. Third and short. Jaggers on the close call here on third down. There's a handoff, a reverse. This time it is Cullen West to the 30. And he is hit down at that point. The last man was Bud Vaughn.
So, you know, all evening they've been rotating their defense. The East have been rotating their defense with the Cullen West. Now watch West spin right there. 52 comes out, number 52 for the West, Barry Simpson, to lead the play once again. Good block, good lead block, and then West turns it up. But he's been going in motion all the way. They've been rotating. Then he spun around, came back, was sort of a counter play of sorts, and picked up good yardage, picked up the first down.
We'll talk more about that when we get an opportunity. First down and 10 now. Cullen West goes in motion.
Oh, they're moving.
The handoff this time to Kirk Hayes, and Hayes is down inside the 25 to the 24. Apparently they missed the motion call that time, but there was some movement. It was Greg Crayson in on the stop. Ade, I think what's happening there, it looks like the tight end is moving over to the same side as the split end, and nobody is coming over to pick him up. So they've got an extra blocker over there, And as a consequence that time, Cullen West was able to make a big play.
Really, and Jim, I think, if unless my memory has failed me somewhat, but I think that's the first time we've seen the play where Cullen has gone in motion and then reversed and pivoted and come back. And again, you get that defense rotated to the backside. We saw that we saw all the backs moving to that right side on the motion, and then you get West spinning back. That's one less player that you have to account for in the blocking scheme. That's why he's able to pick up good yardage and get that first down. So good play, good call, and Coach Dorman, I tell you, his club is sticking right in there, and we got a couple of junkyard dogs that are really good.